Hi guys, hopefully all of you are doing well, and thanks for coming on back and spending some time with me. Today we're going to be making a butter cake, and a butter cake is really a pound cake, but you take a couple of different steps with this particular cake. And of course I've added my own little twist to it. And you have to cook the icing, and the icing you pour over the cake while it's still warm. Really good, and it's simple to make. Take a look. Alright, so in true fashion of making cakes, we're going to start off first by blending or creaming together our unsalted butter and sugar together. Once we've creamed the butter and sugar for about 2 minutes or so till it's nice and fluffy, give your bowl a good scrape and then add your eggs one at a time. Once we've blended in each egg one at a time, then move on to our extracts. We're going to add some vanilla extract and we're going to add a little bit of almond extract. Dang, it don't even look like I put anything in there, but I did. Now here's my little twist. I tried the cake, of course, without sour cream, and it's fantastic. Sour cream is not a usual ingredient of butter cake, but I added it and I loved it. So I decided to add 1/3 of a cup of sour cream and just go ahead and blend that in. Okay, so now we're just gonna alternately add our dry ingredients and our buttermilk, and the dry ingredients consist of all-purpose flour, baking powder, baking soda, and salt. And we're just going to blend that in alternately into the wet mixture with the buttermilk. So first we're going to go in with a cup of the dry mixture, and then half of the buttermilk, and so forth. Definitely want to remind you guys to stop once in a while and scrape down your bowl to make sure all of your ingredients are incorporated really well. So our batter is done. It's a beautiful batter, nice and fluffy. I'm just going to make sure I don't have any dry spots, and I'm going to move on to preparing my bundt pan. Now I usually do this part off camera. I thought I showed this in another video, but this is what recipes mean when they say prepared pans. Buttering and flouring your pan, or you can spray it, but here lately I have been favoring buttering and flouring my bundt pans or cake pans when I'm baking. So you're going to take some room temperature butter, and you're going to rub it all over your bundt pan in the crevices. Make sure you catch those crevices, and the tube. Do not forget to grease the tube. Once we're all nice and buttered, now we're going to move on to the flour, and this is the easiest way that I've been using here lately to flour the bundt pans, is to put the flour in a sifter and just hit the tube, because that helps me to distribute the flour around that tube really well so I don't miss any spots. And then I just move out to the rest of the pan. Once all the surface is covered with flour, then we're just going to tap it around and tap out the excess flour. Then all you have to do is pour your batter right into the bundt pan, and then we're going to go ahead and bake it off at 350 degrees, and it's going to bake for about 60 to 65 minutes, or until a skewer is inserted and it comes out clean. Now about 10 minutes before the cake comes out of the oven, that's when I start the icing. So I combine over medium heat 1/4 cup of water, 1/2 cup of butter, 1 cup of sugar, and a little bit of vanilla extract. And we're going to just cook that over medium heat until the sugar dissolves. And it only takes a few minutes. Now the difference between this pound cake and some other cakes we've made in the past is that we're going to be pouring this hot icing over the cake right when it comes out of the oven. So that's kind of different for us. We usually let cakes cool completely and then we ice them. No, we're going to go ahead and pour this icing right onto the hot cake. And right at the end, I add the vanilla extract. So now that the cake is done, I've already inserted a skewer to make sure it's done. And now we're going to continue to take that skewer and poke holes in the middle of the cake. This looks and feels so wrong, but something about it does feel right, because you know that the icing is going to be going right into those holes. Then once you're satisfied with the holes you have in the cake, go ahead and pour some of your icing over the top, about half, and then let the cake start to absorb some of the icing. Now over a course of time, if you start to make this cake on a regular basis, maybe a second or a third time, you may decide to bump up the amount of icing that you make, and that's perfectly fine. Just some people like the cake more saturated than others. And then what I like to do is take a spatula and just gently allow the icing to go down the sides of the cake. Just very gently. See how the cake is going down the sides right down into the bundt pan. Then I continue on with the second pour. Now I had some extra icing left over because I made 4 of these cakes in 1 week and I took them to work and they loved them. So I had some extra icing, so I went on and poured it over the cake for this video. Now, unlike some other cakes, we're going to allow the cake to completely cool right in the pan. As the cake cools, you'll see that the icing starts to crystallize right there at the lip between the cake and the pan. That's supposed to happen. That's going to give you a crunch that you're quite not expecting. My boss asked me what that crunch was, and I said, sugar, so tread lightly. Now this is something different for us too. We're used to bun pans slipping right off of the cake, right? Well, it doesn't happen with this one. You need to give it a minute and walk away and let the cake slip out of the bun pan on its own, or you can give it a shake and it'll go ahead and ease itself out, okay? But have some patience, and the result, you'll be happy with it. Look at that. Look at that icing that has come and absorbed right there into the cake. Totally delicious. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. You know I appreciate it when you come spend some time with me. I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. Don't forget, this recipe and others can be found at gdseasoning.com. And I'll see you guys next time.